And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of Season 63 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. This is playoff race number 4, race number 12. This is the elimination race that will determine the final 4 that will compete for the championship. One driver is already locked in. A hopeful 6 will try and fill in the final 3 positions. It's happening here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. I'm Seth Cole. I was supposed to be joined by my broadcast colleague, Michael Norman. He arrived at the track, but for some reason he's not up here in the commentator booth. Michael, I know you've got a microphone. Where the heck are you?
I'm actually down here on the front straightaway about to come down through the tri-oval. I'm inside the race car. So one of these drivers had an extra race car they weren't using. I stripped all the paint off of it, and now I am here just driving around the racetrack getting the feel. I'm apparently starting second in this race, but I think I'm just going to do the pace lap and then kind of drop to the back after that and come down pit road out of everybody's way. But, yeah, I'm here. I'll be up in the booth probably right a couple laps after the start.
Yeah, what he's not telling you is he's contractually obligated not to turn a single green flag lap here in this series. So, yeah, so for a little backstory for people, the random qualifying draw, Michael, congratulations. I think this is the best starting position that the random gods have given you. He's starting on the outside of the front row, according to the random qualifying
have to
draw.
say that too.
Meanwhile, yours truly is down in 23rd, but hey, I'm a 3-time Talladega Challenge pole sitter. Granted, I didn't turn a single lap to be able to earn it. But nonetheless, Michael, let's talk about the gravitas of tonight's race. We already know Jeremy Jeffries last week locked himself into the Final Four. We know that Bob Seminara is not here tonight, so he will not be advancing into the championship hunt. But 6 other drivers looking to fill in those final 3 positions, and 39 drivers taking the green flag here tonight. So it's not an easy task by any stretch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. And by the way, I was kidding. I wasn't going to do that because I know that if I were to start in the second spot, just pull up and drop to the back, it would really mess up the outside lane. So I'm really not going to do that to these guys.
Oh, you mean we're not going to end up having you cause the first caution of the night?
Yeah, I'm not trying to get banned from this league. But
doesn't turn a single green flag lap, banned.
Would have been fun it would have been fun if it lasted, but no, I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go tonight. And honestly, it's going to be I don't know. I can tell you one thing for sure. Based off the song that I just randomly created, that we know that this is definitely not Maverick Night in America. This is RTG Night in America.
Yes, it is, and we're getting ready for 66 laps to determine the completion of the Final Four. Again, if you didn't join us last week, Jeremy Jeffries, in what was a 3-wide photo finish for the win, the top 5 all finished within less than 1/10 of a second of each other. It was that close, and Jeffries was able to edge out to be able to have a chance at his second championship in the series. Chuck McClure is the champion incoming, the defending champion from Season 62. He's trying to at least point his way in, if not win his way into another Final Four berth, and he gets the pole position here tonight. He's alongside of Graham McDonald. Row 2 is going to be Garland Oaks alongside of Jessica Shelton. Jeremy Jeffries, we just talked about him. He's locked in, so he can kind of have some fun here tonight. If he ends up winning, great. If he ends up DNFing, he's still advancing to the Final Four, and he'll be alongside of Dante Ricky, Mike Mangialardi, and another playoff contender in Josh Metallic. They're going to make up row number 4, and your top 10 will be completed with Terry Bombard and Greg Palmer. Mark Paglia, he is one of your playoff contenders. He's going to be back in row number 6 with Randy Waugh. Oh, he missed. I was going to say, he's back in the field, Michael. Come on, don't miss the cue.
I have my mic muted because for some reason it likes to play or open, so I'm kind of just using it as my push to talk.
Oh, okay. Donnie Garrett.
That way I don't hinder or for some reason have some type of echo, unless you don't hear it.
I don't actually hear it. So I think
because every time, because I see my mic light up. So
yeah, I'm not hearing any sound even though the mic lights up, so I think you're good.
Okay,
row 7, we've got another playoff driver in Donnie Garrett alongside of John Godfrey. Row 8, Bernie Mobbs and Keith Bynum. It looks like Dante Ricky's dropping to the apron. Oh, we are having an issue there.
Server crash.
Either a server crash or they did a reset. Yeah, I think they did a reset. Maybe somebody lost a gear under pacing. Gives a little bit extra time for me to be able to go down this lineup. So we ended off with Row 8, which was Bernie Mobbs and Keith Bynum. Row 9, Cy Jones and Grant Wesley. And completing your top 20 are going to be Tim Nofsker, another of your championship contenders,
And
alongside of another championship
to,
contender in Kelly Causey.
to confirm, someone did lose a gear.
Okay, that makes sense there. Row 11 is going to be Bobby Farrell alongside of Brian Lovell. Row 12, Jeff Crivello and Jeffrey Elliott. Row 13, Glenn Harris and Ken Roberts. Row 14, Doug Kulik, Joe DeSpirito. And completing your top 30 will be Larry D. and Ulysses Sandoval. Back in row 16 will be Denny Carroll.
Sandoval.
I mispronounce your mispronunciation every time. Denny Carroll and Richard Martin, they're back in row 16. Row 17, Rodney Sullins alongside of Tom Dixon. Row 18 will be Brian Rawson and Javier Negron, and completing the 39-car field here tonight will be Bob Dixon, Greg Lovell, and Ron Hagelin. Point standings coming into tonight, the way things look. Jeremy Jeffries right now is at the top of the point standings, but as we mentioned, he is already locked in. So we're going to be talking in regards to the cut line, which would be fourth in the standings. Josh Metallic comes in second in the point standings. He has a total of 13 points ahead of said cut line. Bob Seminara is not in the field here tonight. He's on a cruise. Hope that he has an enjoyable time on that, but unfortunately it will not advance him into the championship battle in the upcoming next two races. So he will fall below the cut line despite being +7 coming into tonight. And Donnie Garrett is the driver on the hot seat this evening. He is the driver fourth in the standings, so he has to be aware of the drivers ahead of him and below him in points, which would include the following. Tim Nofsker, he is only 1 point out of that final four position. Chuck McClure, the pole sitter, he is only 2 points below said cut line. And Mark
So what
Paglia,
you're saying is this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's really close. Paglia is only 5 points below the cut line. And Kelly Causey, while being a total of 40 points back from the points leader, you would think that he's maybe in a must-win situation, but he's only 15 points below fourth in the standings. So he doesn't necessarily have to win here tonight. There's enough drivers, enough points on the table that he could run his way into the top four without taking the checkered flag, though maybe if you're Kelly Causey, what do you think? When we ended up having the elimination race a couple of weeks ago, Tim Nofsker, he mathematically could have pointed his way in to then the round of 8, but he said, I treated it like a must-win situation. 15 points back. If you're Kelly Causey, you treating this like a must-win situation, or are you counting cars, counting points?
I mean, why not a little of both, to be completely honest? Yeah. If you feel like you can put yourself in position to win, go for it. If not, then at least you're putting yourself in a position to gain as much spot as you possibly can.
We'll see how the strategy plays out here tonight, but throw a blanket over 4th through 7th in the standings this evening. A lot can change between the green flag and the checkered flag. Chuck McClure, the defending champ, brings us down, and race number 12, playoff race number 4, is green. Down the back straightaway, Garland Oaks might have been shading to the top side. Chuck McClure trying to cover both lanes as Graham McDonald trying to lead that second groove with help from Jeremy Jeffries and Mike Mangialardi.
Outside lane has a small run coming, but there's a third lane brewing in the back.
Is that Grant Wesley up there, I think I see?
I believe it is. Haven't seen him race in a couple of weeks. Almost, what's it been, like almost a month?
Almost a month, maybe a little more than that. Nice to see Grant Wesley back on track. And again, big thanks to Rodney Sullins, because now I'm able to tell him and Ken Roberts apart as caution is out.
Oh, and it's Glenn Harris.
Yellow flag out here
Bob
before the
Dixon,
completion of second lap.
Possibly Ron Hagelin.
8
Go
car
back and look here.
Took definitely a good hit with the back end. It's all pushed in. This would have been...
Oh, the 8 car definitely got spun.
Somewhere around the 25th position. Glenn
29th.
29th, okay, yeah, that's around where Glenn qualified. Chuck McClure going to come around and receive the yellow flag here over Garland Oaks, Jessica
Okay.
Shelton, Graham McDonald, and Dante Ricky.
So from the looks of it, the car ahead of him, which was Jeff Crivello, did something. The 8 car had to check up, and unfortunately, the 188, as my game crashed, the 188 just kind of got into the back of him with nowhere to go.
Here's a look at it. Big hit for Ron Hagelin there.
Let me know when I fall out.
Yeah,
if you
Bob
can
Dixon,
tell.
nowhere to go. I've not yet seen the chat button light up, so I'll let you know when I see that happen, and more than likely it'll be when you fell out. It's a couple of really big hits right there. Okay, I think you might have fallen out.
Yep, I'm here.
Take another look at it here, and this is something I think we're going to see quite a bit of here this evening. It's happened a lot in the past. This is a racetrack where a lot of drivers really like running the inside line. It gets the advantage when there's double and three wide racing. And with that, a lot of checkup takes place, especially on the entry to the center of the corner, which we saw there. Well, I don't know.
Seth,
that was some pretty heavy front impact there for the 8 and the 143. I'd hate to say it this early on in the race, but aero damage, engine damage.
Jess makes a last-minute decision to come down pit road. But Seth, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Now, considering that the tracks are very similar, do they run the same setup for both tracks?
I used to know the answer to this, and I cannot remember now. The setup that they use for both tracks, whether it's the same or different, are actually in the track folder when the
so
drivers
what you're saying
download
is that for the track for Talladega RTG V3, it should already have that specific setup in
Yes.
it. Okay. I'm saying that because you, as well as some people who also knows that the online series that I run is running at the RTG Talladega track this coming Sunday.
Right.
So I was just curious on if the setup was already in there, or if I just had to talk to you after the race about it.
Nope, it's in there.
More than welcome. Anybody who's racing online wants to join. Yes, it may be a little bit of a selfish plug, but it goes out to everybody here in RTG as well.
Take a look at our YouTube chat here. Got Mr. Expos. He was the first one in our chat, cheering on the number 38 of Rodney Sullins, and he actually asked that we show the 38 car. Let's see if we can find him.
Yes, Seth, show the 38 car. Gosh.
Let's see, I believe Rodney stayed out, so he's a little further up here than what his qualifying effort was. Well, might have passed by him. Where is he at? There he is. That Dale Senior Wrangler throwback. We had Jeffrey Elliott in our chat here as well. Want to congratulate Jeffrey Elliott, as a matter of fact. Monday night. I believe it was Kitchen Creek's Super Speedway, but I'm not 100% certain. But Jeffrey Elliott picking up his first career Rolling Thunder Gaming checkered flag. So congratulations to him on that. We had Milt Surratt there in our chat. Milt, you got it. Who you got, Surratt? We got to know who you're picking here tonight to
win,
the checkered flag. Are you going? I'll tell you what. I'll even let you off the hook. You don't even have to specifically name a driver if you're afraid of the curse. Let us know if it's going to be a playoff contender or a non-playoff contender, because the odds have obviously decreased for a playoff driver winning as more playoff drivers get eliminated.
Oh, Jeremy Jeffries with the last-minute ditch down the pit road.
And that would have been from 6th position. When Jess made the dive, she was in the top 5
Milt says
as well.
No. Milt says no, not again.
But you know, playoff or non-playoff driver. You don't even have to say a specific driver, because so far we're 3 for 3 in playoff contenders winning the playoff races. So maybe here tonight, a non-playoff driver spoils the party, and we end up having 3 drivers that have to point their way in to join Jeremy Jeffries in the Final 4. Looks like all the drivers involved in the lap 2 wreck have come to pit road. They have repaired damage as best as they can, and they will continue. But we will also have to see if they're up to speed when we go back green. Well, Michael, if you're ready to key up, we are going to be talking. We didn't get the opportunity, unfortunately, to talk with her last week when she ended up finishing inside of the podium. So we arranged here tonight, if we had a caution period, that we were going to be talking with our broadcast colleague. She's out there in that number 9, Jessica Shelton. See if we can dial her up.
Want me to bring her up here?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I got this. If TeamSpeak wants to work with me. Here we go.
Buddy was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Jess, Michael, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Nope.
Oh, well,
Oh,
okay.
well, that's
I
the
guess,
same. Okay,
I
bye.
guess we could Obviously,
You ain't never heard that one before, have you?
no, nobody's actually ever said no to us before, so I wasn't exactly
Get
sure what
used
to do.
it. Get used to it.
Like, I had the commentators freeze right there where I didn't know exactly. I had to check my cue cards for the next place of where to go. But last week, almost pulled off that victory, have had a lot of momentum here, and the momentum really, if we look at the big picture as well with what's going to become enough for you. Obviously, we've got the Thanksgiving break, but when we have these final 2 races, you're waiting in the wings in the bracket series, and it looks like it's going to be between Donnie Garrett, Josh Metallic, as to who's going to be taking you on. Are you scouting out the competition here tonight?
Actually, no, not really. Just racing around, having fun, actually. That's all I'm doing. I mean, I'm not in the playoffs anymore, so really, like they always say, there's nothing more dangerous than without, with someone without anything to lose. And honestly, I got nothing to lose. And the bracket, I mean, I don't know how I made it as far as I have. Honestly, that's just pure luck, I guess you could say.
Now, I know
But
we got,
I'm happy. I'm thrilled. We'll just go out there and do what we can, And if we don't get it, oh well, it's just been fun.
now I know we got the lights out here.
I would rather not talk about her almost win last week because
I was going to bring it up, but if you want to bring it up publicly, go right ahead.
No, let's not.
Yeah, because, Chess, anything you want to say to your spotter on which line to run last week on the final lap?
Well, honestly, I actually had a lot of fun being out there the way everything was handling, right? I mean, I actually work with a lot of people that I normally don't really work. I mean, not like I said, I hate them or anything, but I just don't really work with them. We don't find each other very often. And, I mean, I got to give a lot of shout-out credit to Mark Paglia. Early on in that race, I was actually wanting to go with Kelly Causey on the high side, and something happened to Kelly, and then out of nowhere, Rodney was up there. Rodney worked with me for a little bit, and Palmer did as well. And the biggest one that I was happy with was Ken Roberts. We actually hooked up pretty well, and we went. And at the very end of that race, though, I mean, I didn't expect to win. My expectations here in this series, I've been so close before. I know that I'm about to get past. So I was just like, okay, well, I wonder how this was going to end up. I wasn't really freaking out or anything. And then it's like, hey, stay in the middle line. Stay in the middle line. You'll get the run off. Haven't heard that before, have we?
That's okay. We revoked his spotter's license, so you'll be good. All right, I know we're ready to go back green, so we'll let you get back at it. Best of luck.
All right, thanks.
Just going to be starting pretty deep in the
Buddy
field
was
here
moved out
as
of your
well. 32nd, actually, after making that dive onto pit road twice under this caution period. Green flag back in the air. Lap 6 completed. Let's see if now they can get into a little bit of a rhythm, because, Michael, the last couple of weeks, whether it's been here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway or at the counterpart Talladega, we've had a couple of early yellows, and then it comes all down to green flag pit stops and execution on pit road.
Absolutely, it does. And, Seth, honestly, I want to take a bit of a shout out. That guy's first on the outside row there.
Yeah, Garland Oaks. And that 67 has run a limited time schedule. We saw him make his return after making a couple of starts at the beginning of the season last week. And holding tough there, had the good qualifying effort of the inside, I think it was, of row 2.
By the way, our the Jessica said she wouldn't mind being our in-race reporter anytime we wanted to come up and talk.
Alrighty. Last time she was
Side
an
by
in-race
side.
reporter, she visited us up here in the commentator's booth by flying into the catch fence at Talladega, I remember. So hopefully not that kind of an occurrence again.
Hey, it's a shortcut to get up to the booth, right?
It's the express lane.
Hey, should we write a song about it?
It's the Fast Pass, the Disney Fast Pass.
Should we write a song about it?
No, we should not write a song about it. We've written songs about things we shouldn't write songs about. Sounds good,
Same
Milt.
lane.
Milt says he'll give us his pick with 15 to 20 to go.
Okay. I mean, that's still too much. That's still too late. To be
Robert
completely fair.
Breedlove cheering on Coach Causey as well. Causey, not necessarily the long shot, but he is 8th of the 8 championship drivers points-wise
Who's going to lead
tonight.
this lap? Garland leads the lap. There's a third lane, and Seth, we know what that third lane does to this middle lane.
Yep.
So it's kind of stalled out right there about the fourth car back. But we'll see. Should they just go ahead and shoot up now? Maybe you think.
Yeah, maybe.
If Dante and Garland were to shoot up there.
It's interesting too. Oh no!
Rick. Oh, it's Randy Watt. He's upside down.
And also Greg Lovell I saw as well at the start of that. Big wreck in the middle of 3 and 4.
Randy is flipping down the. Well, he was flipping down the banking. Not my Waluigi.
There's Greg Lovell in the 880. Brian Rawson. Oh, yep. Randy was done.
Luigi. Not my Luigi.
Doug Hewlick in the 23.
Javier Negron.
Denny Carroll. Looks like there's right side damage.
Oh, look
on
at the
that car.
damage. Look at the damage on the 40. His hood's all buckled up.
Trying to find Javier. Where is he?
He's coming into the pits right now.
Oh, there he is. Oh, wow. Didn't even see him. Brian Rawson with a lot of damage. Ken Roberts, I think, might have been involved. He was quite a ways back from the field. That was a big hit, too. It was hard to tell exactly what happened. It was up in that third lane, but Greg Lovell quickly turned into the outside wall, and I think he might have flipped over as well. Randy Waugh might have also.
Luigi.
Let's take a look at what happened over in the middle of 3 and 4. Michael, you documented that third line was moving, and I wonder if there was a bump, an errant bump there in the center of the corner. Maybe the inside line pushes up. Oh, massive checkup right there, actually. Like Greg might have bumper grabbed the right rear quarter panel of Rodney Sullins, and that shot him up the track.
I'm trying to pay attention to our stream and everything, and I don't know what YouTube's been up to lately when it comes to live streams, but it's made it really hard. Like the whole, I want to say the whole like screen page, web page just kind of like freezes. I don't know if you've ever been having that issue too.
Not that I can recall.
Okay, I think it's getting a little bit better. But yeah,
saw
I mean,
that right there.
was...
We're gonna rewind it back a little bit here too, because obviously these drivers, they want to push, but when you're that 4th, 5th car in line and you've got the run, you've got to time it correctly with the bump, because if you do it too late when you're going into the corner, it's going to cause this. Look at the run. Look at the gap there. Here comes the push from the 21 to the 880.
There was a lot of chain bumping as well.
Yeah,
down
so
the
I think it was a combination of that Rodney lifted for Richard Martin in front of him, and Greg had the 21 of Randy Waugh shoving him. So with the difference of momentum and more than likely a difference of speed, even though there's only maybe 1 or 2 miles per hour in it, I think that's kind of what led to it. But there was quite a few cars with smoke pouring out from underneath, and maybe the end of the night for these guys. A few of them. There you see the follow-up wreck. Oh, Javier Negron and Brian Rawson both also went up and over. Ken Roberts and Doug Hewlick collected as well. So I believe that's 8, 9 cars right there. Some really big hits, and can confirm at least 4 drivers have gone back behind the wall after the occurrences of our first 2 yellows here tonight prior to the completion of lap 10. Jeffrey Elliott stays out, so he may potentially be the leader when we go back green, unless he's getting himself a bonus point for a lap led and will make the dive onto pit road. Larry D, Tom Dixon, Jeff Crivello also stayed out. Dixon's coming in. Larry D with a little fake there. Should get lights out this next time by, if I'm not mistaken. The 4 drivers out of the race at this point will be Randy Waugh. I even gave him the pause. Javier Negron, Ron Hagelin, and Glenn Harris. Greg Lovell, I believe, has returned to the racetrack. He is 1 lap down, though, and you would have to assume is not going to be fully up to speed after the hard impact that he took in that wreck. Okay, lights did not go out on the Wiley Cody pace car. So more than likely it'll go out next time by. One would assume Jeffrey Elliott, Larry D, Jeff Carell, the top 3, will maybe make the dive onto pit road. Then again, with us having these 2 early yellows, they may be of the thought that we might see another quickie yellow and they can keep this track position. So if they do not come to pit road, that would line Chuck McClure up in 4th, Dante Ricky in 5th, Garland Oaks, Graham McDonald, Donnie Garrett, Josh Metallic, and Mark Paglia, the top 10. Want to remind everybody that we will not be broadcasting next Thursday night. The Talladega Challenge Series will be off for Thanksgiving. We will resume the following Thursday, where we will begin the round of the Final 4, which is a 2-race final round. The driver that accumulates the most points at the conclusion of those 2 races will be crowned the champion. It's a win-and-you're-in system for the round of 8 and the Final 4, but once we reach that Final 4, it just comes down to who has the most points after 2 events. And you heard as well, when we were talking with our in-race reporter Jessica Shelton, the bracket challenge is nearing its close. Tonight it is the final matchup on the loser side of the bracket, Donnie Garrett versus Josh Metallic. Winner will move on to face Jess. If either Donnie or Josh, depending on who moves on, is able to finish higher than Jessica in the upcoming next race, then there will be a rematch in the finale. But if Jessica Shelton's able to defeat either one of those drivers in finishing position in 2 weeks' time, Jessica Shelton will be the Season 63 Bracket Series champ.
I don't know. It's something very interesting, Seth, that only me and you know. Is that Jess driving that number 9, or is that Steve Austin?
No, that is not Steve Austin. Because if that was Steve Austin, that would mean that Donnie Garrett would be Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, jeez.
Lights are finally out here on the pace car. Jeffrey Elliott out in front here, so we will let you know that the next broadcast you actually will see here on FRN will be on Saturday, November 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we're going to be covering another edition of the Mega Team Race, but this time, for the first time, under the Full Throttle Racing banner. Going to be 5 heat races, 1 main event. The main event going to be a smaller length in terms of race length. We've run 66 laps, we've run 47 laps, but it'll now be 38 laps at Talladega Nights Super Speedway. So not necessarily a sprint, but definitely going to put a lot more urgency, I think, on starting track position and maintaining track position, and we will see who is going to emerge as team champions. Again, that's going to be on Saturday, November 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on FRN.
Fern, right here on Fern.
We can add another driver to the list of those that will not be taking the green flag. Greg Lovell, we mentioned he returned to the racetrack, but as he was catching up, I guess, to the field, was not hitting an optimal top speed, and under these pacing laps, he brought his car back behind the wall, so that will leave us with 34 drivers running, all 34 on the lead lap of the original 39.
We had a full field.
Well, we had 39 drivers and a wannabe.
I'm just going to ignore that.
If you want. Green flag back in the air.
You forget. Now you can say you forget who's going to have to provide you with a place to stay and transportation when you come here in February.
All right, Airbnb.com.
How are you going to transfer around? Are you going to Uber everywhere?
Yes.
Guess you won't be going to Universal then.
Let's see,
You
how
had
many
you had to
Florida
save all that money?
how many
You have to
Florida
save all that
drivers
money?
are there here in this field? We got Donnie, we got Joe. Bob will probably be back from his cruise.
Yeah, but none of them will live where I live. As far as I know, anyways.
I'll find a way.
Life finds a way.
Life is a cereal.
But it also finds a way, like in the Jurassic Park movie you watched not too long ago.
It's also a board game.
Oh, there's another yellow.
Caution out for the third time here
Tom
tonight.
Dixon, looks like. Blown motor, Tom Dixon. And
Oh,
he's
man.
at turn 4.
Yep. The Batmobile.
No one holds the clutch like you're supposed to when you blow a motor.
I thought you were going to say no one holds the clutch like Gaston. I don't know why I thought that, but
No one holds the
clutches
clutch like Gaston.
Gaston.
Puts on the clutch like Gaston.
So 15 laps in, third caution of the evening. We'll go back, take a look
Oh,
at the
now I have it.
expiration of the motor
I just got an idea.
of Tom Dixon.
We need to have AI rewrite the Gaston song.
No, we do not.
Yes, we do. Just put in the description, no one blinks like Gaston.
Nope, that is a horrible idea. This almost looks like, I want to see the timing of this. It might have been the exact moment that Tom Dixon shifts up to 4th gear. That car is obviously lost the draft we see right there. It's somewhat slow, and then right there. Yeah, I think when he shifted up to 4th gear. I don't know if he was too high of revs in 3rd.
Or did he money shift? Maybe
He
put
could
it in
have.
the first.
That might have been showing him in 2nd gear now, so he may have accidentally downshifted. And with
Chuck.
the being up on the racing surface, race
Chuck's
officials
gonna
will read
stay
that
out.
as.
The Chuck stays out.
I was going to explain that with the car being up on the racing surface, race officials read that as debris being laid down the racetrack, and that's why the caution is thrown. Mr. Expos, this Talladega track is Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. It is the same configuration as Talladega, but it doesn't quite race the same as Talladega. Not even the same as the Talladega track that they race here every other week. There's a lot more emphasis on running the inside line. Michael alluded to it earlier as well. They can race 3 wide, but when that third lane moves closer to the front, it will actually stall out the middle line and give the advantage to the bottom. So drivers have had to adapt accordingly as to which lanes they choose. And this is going to be where the championship will ultimately be decided in 3 weeks. It's where we determined our Elite 8. It's where tonight we will determine our Final 4. And ultimately the championship will be decided. I believe this racetrack also was the pivotal portion of the schedule last season as well. We're being asked what number is hubcap. You'd have to be a little bit more specific. If you could give me a driver name, I could definitely let you know what position the driver in question is currently scored in. So Tom Dixon obviously out of the race due to the mechanical failure, and also it looks like Larry D in the 188 has just put it behind the wall, so tough break there for him. It's going to leave us with 32 of our original 39 drivers still running. When they hit the line, there will be 50 laps to go. We're working our third caution in the early going of this evening's race. We're going to step aside for an FRN race break. You won't miss a bit of the action, and we'll break in when we get ready for the restart. Lights out, getting ready to go back. Green, completion of lap 18 onto 19 for our third restart of the night. Chuck McClure, who started on the pole position, back out in front. He's led 10 laps so far here this evening. He'll have Garland Oaks to his outside. Donnie Garrett and Mark Paglia will be in row 2. We had Fidel in our chat ask where Keith Bynum is. He's going to line up in the 5th position alongside of Josh Metallic, Bernie Mobbs, Terry Bombard, Cy Jones, and Tim Knopfsker. Going to complete the top 10. If I'm correct eyeballing it, that is 4 of our remaining 7 drivers yet to lock themselves into the final 4, restarting up inside of the top 10. The only 2 drivers that are currently outside of said top 10, Kelly Causey is back in 17th, and Mark Paglia is going to restart. Oh no, Paglia's up. Who's the other driver I was looking for? Oh no, so I guess there's 5. Yep, 5 of our playoff drivers up inside the top 10. Causey the only one outside of the top 10, as mentioned, restarting back in 16th. Make it now 17th position.
Wow, I'm just being told that the drivers under this caution period have just spent the entire caution period talking about soap operas.
Oh. Helps to pass the time.
Say that again?
It helps
Seth?
to pass the time.
Yeah, but I mean, soap operas, come on. Who actually watches soap operas?
Have you never seen a bar of soap sing Liberace?
I hate you. I hate you, and I hate you.
I feel like that's like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. If you say it 3 times, it's real.
Which you just did.
I did. And nothing popped out of my computer screen.
He doesn't live in a computer screen. He would live in a model of a city in your attic.
But who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Wrong.
I don't know. Maybe you're wrong. You ever think about that?
I would think about it, but I'd be wrong to think about it.
I hate you.
I feel like
really
like this is literally what they were doing under caution.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is a race going on, and it is.
Oh, is there? I didn't notice.
It is close at the front. Chuck McClure, that inside line advantage, has not been able to shake Garland Oaks on the top side. He's been getting some good help from Mark Paglia, Josh Metallic, but the bad news is that third line is forming, and we ended up having a caution come out, which broke my one question I wanted to ask you, Michael, when you were discussing about the 3-wide situation. Do you think that when the driver's in that middle line, they have to obviously know that third line is forming? Does that put a sense of urgency, maybe a sense of desperation on that middle groove where they start shoving a little bit more, try and make sure they can get themselves clear of the inside line before that outside line gets to them?
I mean, it's possible when you're being told that they're 3 wide behind you, third lane starting to form. That's why I said before, like, you see it starting to form already back there. When would be the right time to ditch the middle lane and go up to the outside lane, pulling them up with you, using the draft to get them to suck up to your back bumper and push?
Well, the biggest problem with that scenario, though, is usually when the third line gets alongside the middle line, both of those 2 lanes are hurt. They both kind of stall each other out and lose momentum, and that's why we see the inside line gain the advantage. So I would think more than try and time when you go to the third lane, you would try to get yourself clear to get to the inside line.
And now would be the perfect time for Garland to move up to that third lane and maybe try to see if they can pull that line. We know the inside lane gets to run through the corners, Seth, but from the back stretch and off the corners down, it's usually the middle or outside lane that has the momentum. Like you see right there, he's going up to the third lane now.
Going to the third lane. Paglia is going to shade to the middle. Garland will cover that, but watch how Chuck McClure, look at that. It's like he shoots out of a cannon, and immediately he and Donnie Garrett will clear the middle and the outside line.
Close racing.
Just all that movement right there, it stalled out the momentum that both the middle and the outside line had. Keith Bynum Gonna try and jump up there and drag the middle groove.
It's working a little bit so far.
It's gonna be an interesting scenario with what we're seeing right here with the top two. Chuck McClure, Donnie Garrett, both of these drivers coming into this one above the cut line, one below the cut line, and they are separated by 2 points. Now we know Bob Seminara is going to be eliminated. He was inside of the top 4 in points coming into tonight. He will fall below the cut line, but let's say the scenario is with 5 to go. Is Donnie content to ride behind Chuck McClure in the assumption that both of them, with their finishes of first and second, or at least inside the podium, will lock them into the final 4, or does he try going for that victory with points as close as they are? I don't know. Like,
depends on what kind of position he's in.
Yeah.
If he has a chance to go for it, he'll go for it. If not, then he'll finish where he's at and hope that it's enough to put him in the top 4.
A lot of drivers have different mentalities when it comes to playoff racing. A lot of them like to keep themselves aware of where the competition is. They kind of have a number in their head of, if I'm running in this position, where do I need the driver or drivers I'm battling to be running. Other drivers, they don't even think about it. They just tunnel vision, laser focus of being up there inside of the top 5, top 3, or even the race lead, treating it as a must-win situation like we had Tim Nofsker do a couple of weeks ago in the elimination race that advanced him into the round of 8. Speaking of Nofsker, he's up in that 3rd lane, helping Mark Paglia. Keith Bynum still on that middle groove, and now the top 4 on the inside line, Bernie Mobs, Cy Jones, have gotten themselves clear of the middle and outer grooves. Mike Mangialardi will do the same into the 5th position. Beginning of this season, it was a lot of drivers snapping winless streaks. Josh Metallic, Donnie Garrett, Bob Seminara, Ken Roberts, all able to find victory lane after some drivers had 6 months of not finding victory lane. Other drivers had upwards of 2 years since they had last found victory lane. We've started to see a lot more playoff contenders go to victory lane here in the postseason. We've yet to have that first-time winner, that underdog story, and we got quite a number of drivers up here that maybe could fit that bill. Got Cy Jones in 4th, Mike Mangialardi in 5th, Bobby Farrell right there in the 6th position as well, that Petty Blue 92 machine. It's been a good season for Cy Jones in that 7 car. He was able to point his way into the playoffs, got eliminated in the first round, 13th in the standings coming into tonight with this and 2 other races remaining.
Watching them coming flying at you in the camera view, it doesn't always seem like they're going that fast, but here they are going almost 200 miles per hour.
Yeah, 197, 198 for the leader, Chuck McClure, going into turn 1. Do they race Canadian tracks? To my knowledge, the only place that I can think of, or maybe 2 places where they would race a Canadian track, would be on their Monday and Wednesday night series. Monday nights, they've got the Bare Bones Racing Series, which is their Cup Series. Wednesday nights is their Lightning Truck Series. Those are the only 2 places I can think of where they would run maybe a Canadian track. I have raced in the Bare Bone Racing Series for a couple of seasons. I don't remember them running a Canadian track then. But as far as a super speedway, I do not believe there is a Canadian-based super speedway in NR, or if there is, I don't remember one, and I don't recall any series ever running at one. So in terms of super speedway racing, I think that would probably be a no. As Michael, that outside line, the 3rd lane's gone. It's now just inside and middle groove, and take a look who is leading the charge. Grant Wesley in that number 88 machine, and he's got a big push from Kelly Causey.
You cannot keep him in the back for very long.
You think he's been missing being out there racing every Thursday night? He's not in the playoffs, obviously. Missed a number of weeks around the close of the regular season, heading into the postseason.
And here he comes.
So he's got nothing to lose, right? He's got the mentality of, bring home the trophy or bring home the steering wheel as Keith Bynum a little loose back there. Third car on that outside line. Now we went back green at the conclusion of lap 15, or I'm sorry, correction. Conclusion of lap 16, I believe it was. On to 17. So at this point in time, we would have completed about 13 and a half laps. Oh, Donnie Garrett! From the second position, spun off the nose of, I believe that was Bernie Mobbs, and he's down below the yellow line, so caution will not come out. We will stay green. Doug Hewlick just made a pit stop, and we're about 6-7 laps removed from when these drivers are going to have to hit pit road for a green flag stop, but that's a tough break there for Donnie Garrett. That is a playoff contender, folks, a driver that came in the cut line driver. He's going to have to hope for a yellow flag to be able to catch back up, but just how much damage did he sustain into the inside wall? I don't know if there was checkup or if there was a bad bump. Bernie Mobbs was the car behind. As Mobbs is coming to pit road there in the 31 car. He's not coming down pit road for a pit stop. If you end up causing an incident that doesn't bring out the caution, you have to serve a pass-through, and I believe that is what the Circle Water number 31 machine is doing right now. Be the first green flag pit stop of the night if we get to that point here, Michael, and I mentioned it. Execution on pit road has been huge here in these playoffs, specifically here at this racetrack, with how pivotal a point of the schedule it's been with the elimination races. You see Wesley, Causey, Sullins all move down to the inside line. That's an indicator that they're getting ready for that ease of access onto pit road in the next couple of laps or so.
But can they do it cleanly?
That's going to be the big question, too. Yeah, we ended up having a few weeks ago big pileup of race cars at Talladega on the entrance of pit road. We had 15, 20 cars in a parking lot. Nobody was able to go anywhere. The entrance to pit road was completely blocked, and it completely shaked up that first round of the playoffs in preparation for the round of 8. Could have the same thing happen here in this one. Radios, I believe, are lighting up. We might see a couple of drivers dive onto pit road here. We may see a huge group of drivers dive onto pit lane. We'll see as we're nearing the halfway point. Front runners might be coming to pit lane because Josh Metallic's way up the track there through 3 and 4. And it will not be the leader, Grant Wesley, but it will be Keith Bynum leading Garland Oaks, Mike Mangialardi, Richard Martin, and Graham McDonald onto pit lane. So a quintet on pit road at the completion of lap 32. Not necessarily at the point of the race if you end up making a mistake, getting hit with a speeding penalty, that there is no chance of recovery, but they will have to pit at least one more time here after this pit stop, and that would be the point where if you make a mistake, it's more than likely your race, or in the case of the playoff contenders, your championship hopes completely gone. Here comes Chuck McClure onto pit lane. Oh, Cy Jones in trouble. He's going to hit the inside wall. Mark Paglia, I think, sped. He's in the grass.
I think. I don't know. He might get held for that too.
Is caution out? Yes, it is. I was going to say, I saw Terry Bombard on the apron there on the racing surface. And it looked like he had spun around. Caution is going to fly. And I believe that for Chuck McClure, Mark Paglia, yeah, they're going to have to pass through pit road. They can't take service. And that's a huge break for Donnie Garrett, as Grant Wesley picked up the caution flag and is waiting on the pace car. And these guys right here, Bynum, McDonald, Oaks, Martin, and Mangialardi, they're going to cycle up to the front because they're going to get to stay out being on the tail end of the lead lap when everybody else pits. Let's take the opportunity here under this caution period to first look back and see what happened to playoff contender Donnie Garrett. This did not bring out the yellow flag. And then we will take a look at what brought out the caution, which I believe involved the 10 of Terry Bombard. Here's a look off of turn 4. Watch the second car on the inside line there. Just looks like
Absolutely.
the 31 might have gotten to the back bumper of the 77 a little too quickly there off corner exit.
And this is what makes pit stops on the green so dangerous.
I don't even think this had anything to do with the green flag pit stop. I think it was just bad timing. They were planning on coming to pit road, but I don't think that Donnie Garrett was actually going to come to pit road that lap. I would be a little concerned about the rear end damage on the back of the 77 because that is, I believe, a safer barrier down there on the inside of the entrance to pit road, but it definitely created some visible damage on the Miller High Life machine. And now we'll take a look and see what happened with Terry Bombard. We saw Cy Jones spin around. We'll focus on the 10 of Terry Bombard, but look up ahead at the 92 of Bobby Farrell, because he's making contact with somebody here. Oh, right there. That's why Cy spun around. And then Bobby Farrell trying to gather it back up. Terry runs into the back of him. And with that being up above the yellow line and on the racing surface with oncoming traffic, caution comes out. So that's a big break for a bunch of drivers. I mentioned about those 5 drivers that had come to pit road, had managed to leave pit lane still on the lead lap. They are going to cycle up to the front. Bernie Mobbs, I believe, lost a lap with his pass-through. He's going to get the lucky dog. Doug Kulik also lost a lap. He had a green flag pit stop as well. Those two, only drivers 1 lap down, so they will be the recipient of the free pass. And then, as mentioned also for Donnie Garrett, he is going to be able to remain on the lead lap as well and be up here with the field. So his championship hopes are not done. Still has an opportunity to try and work his way back up to the front after spending a good majority of the first half of this race up inside of, if not the top 5, at least the top 10. So Keith Bynum going to inherit the lead. Graham McDonald, Garland Oaks, Richard Martin, Mike Mangialardi going to be the top 5. We have had another driver out of the race. This occurred about 12 laps ago, and that would be Brian Rawson. Rawson was involved in the lap 2 incident. Had a lot of damage on his number 6 Budweiser machine, and he has gone behind the wall, joining Larry D, Tom Dixon, Greg Lovell, Randy Waugh, Javier Negron, Ron Hagelin, and Glenn
Randy Waluigi
Harris, which will leave us with 31 drivers running, and with the
that's still a lot of cars.
Pass, they'll all be on the lead lap.
Hey, yeah, 31. That's still a lot of cars.
Still a lot of cars, still a lot of points, still out there. That could
and it's still a lot of your face.
Too much of my face, actually. So as of right now, Chuck McClure, if we're looking at bonus points, Chuck McClure would stand to gain 2 bonus points. Obviously, he's led a lap after starting on the pole position, but he has also led the most laps. He's had 15 circuits out in front. Garland Oaks is tied for leading the second most with Grant Wesley. They have both led 5. Jeffrey Elliott has led 4. 3 laps led for Donnie Garrett. 2 laps led and going on 3 here for Keith Bynum. And then 1 lap led for Bobby Farrell. So if you were keeping track there, only 2 of our remaining playoff drivers have been out in front, led a lap, and been able to get said bonus points. So we've seen gamesmanship during the playoffs of drivers staying out. They'll get the lap led, they give up the track position, but they want that bonus point. We haven't seen that
and the
here
extra
tonight.
Fuel. Don't forget about the extra fuel.
Yep. Oh, look at Josh Metallic cutting across a few lanes of traffic there. He's going to come to pit road along with Tim Nosker, a couple of playoff drivers planning for a potential green flag run to the finish.
Ooh, I'll be right back. Said I got to use the commentator's room.
Okay. We're going to get the restart with less than 30 to go because we're hitting 30 laps remaining this time by. Drivers can make it on an average of 19 laps on fuel, so they will have to make at least one more pit stop before the conclusion, and they cannot make that pit stop until we end up reaching around 47 laps complete. Otherwise, they will more than likely be short of reaching the regular scheduled distance. Got Travis rooting on the 24 of Joe DeSpirito. Joe's going to be restarting in the 9th position. Brian Rawson asking, anybody got more Bondo for his car after the wreck? He was a Ford Tempo. They need that to be a manufacturer now for the Aero 88 cars. Got a bunch of different manufacturers here. Got Chevys, Fords, Pontiacs, Oldsmobiles. There's a couple of others out there that I'm not 100% aware of. I believe we have a Toyota out there in Jeffrey Elliott. Probably a Buick Regal out there, I would think, with it being the Aero 88 cars. Somebody there around the 11th, 12th position. I thought they blew up, but I think they might have spun the tires, left a little puff of smoke there on the middle portion of 3 and 4. As we're getting ready to go back green, pace car going to make the left-hand turn to pit road. He'll leave the field.
Oh, good. I didn't miss
Keith
anything.
Bynum and Rodney Sullins. Okay, not sure what Rodney was doing. Looked like he was maybe thinking of come pit road. Oh, we got a wreck in the back. Denny Carroll just got turned. And we're still wrecking back here.
We're going to be going green.
Are we still
Who
going?
got turned?
41 just got turned into the 92. Josh Metallic's back here. Someone just dove to pit road. Dante Ricky's coming to pit road.
That was a chain bump. It was a chain checkup.
And
right
we are not
before
going
the restart.
Green. Pace car is coming back out, so he'll lead him back around for another lap. Dante coming down to his pit stall.
That was definitely a close one.
Dante's taking service. I wonder if maybe Dante was able to... Oh, no, he missed the commitment cone. I was going to say, I wonder if when that happened, if he thought about maybe coming down pit road to top off the fuel tank again. Here's a look at what happened.
Brian R. says, after my wreck, I was driving a Ford Tempo.
Oh, yep, there's the checkup, and yep. You had Ulysses into the back of Bob, Donnie into the back of Ulysses, Denny into the back of Donnie, Dante into the back of Denny.
Denny, Donnie. Donnie, Denny.
Denny's.
We are going green, by the way.
I thought you were going to say we're going to Denny's. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, we could, but we're all going to, you know, we're going to Waffle House at 3 a.m.
Gotta go to Waffle House, come on. No one out waffles the house. Do you think we'd get in trouble if we opened up a business called the Waffle Hut?
Yeah.
No one out waffles the hut? Waffle Hut and Waffle House? Be like
You're
Burger
just digging
King.
yourself.
Be like
digging
Burger
yourself
King and
a deeper
McDonald's
hole.
built across the street from each other, just giving each other dirty looks.
Right. I mean, to be fair, Waffle House in my town is across the street from a McDonald's.
Well, yeah, but they don't really sell the same things. If you had like a Waffle House across from an IHOP, then that's a problem. Completely off topic, but I can't remember the last time I was ever at a Denny's. Anyway, we're going back green. This caution did not help anybody in terms of being able to have enough fuel to make it the rest of the way. They're still going to have to pit before the conclusion, and I don't know if Grant McDonald just didn't get himself a decent restart or if they wanted to make that third lane really quickly. Jeffrey Elliott, Grant Wesley, Kelly Causey, Greg Palmer all jumped up to that outside line. Middle lane, the proverbial sucker hole. There's only about 3 cars there. Now some drivers moving from the top to the middle line. It was either the inside line or the outside line. No in between there.
It was both.
And now Jeffrey Elliott in the middle groove trying to work towards the front, currently alongside the right rear quarter panel of Joe DeSpirito. That would be for the 5th position. Josh Metallic was in the middle of that checkup at the rear of the field. I believe Tim Nofsker was as well. We'll keep an eye on their recovery through the field. Metallic's in the middle groove back there. Last time by scored in the 23rd spot. Tim Nofsker, a couple cars behind him. Last time by scored in 27th. Chuck McClure is also back there at the rear of the field, the pole sitter. Last time by was scored in 30th position. You see him last car in the middle groove there. If you're just joining us, we do know for certain one driver that is officially eliminated from advancing into the Final Four, Bob Seminara.
And it's all Seth's fault.
It's my fault. I made him go on a cruise.
Yep. You told him, said, hey, you should go on this cruise right in the middle of your playoff season.
He could have been cruising in a car, but he's carring in a cruise.
Is that like pacing the pass car?
Yes, absolutely. Jeffrey Elliott in that middle line has been able to get to the point. So he's back out in front. He had previously led 4 laps this evening. That was his 5th lap out in front. And look what's behind Grant Wesley in that 3rd position. Kelly Causey, who, as we said, is not in a must-win situation tonight. But he was the furthest down in the point standings.
Drowned? He was
furthest drowned.
Are you playing Minecraft now?
We're not at Daytona. There's no lake around here. He was the furthest down in the point standings of the remaining playoff contenders. 15 points below Donnie Garrett, who sits 4th. Not saying that a top 3 would secure Causey a trip into the next round, but could happen. And remember, Kelly Causey already has a win here in the playoffs that help advance him into this round of 8. Back in the first round. It was his first win of the season after he pointed his way into the playoffs. New look for the 22 of Greg Palmer here tonight. First time we've seen him up here inside of the top 5. Greg started this race from 11th. Saw him kind of fade towards the back as I think he was playing a little unorthodox pit strategy, a little off cycle from everybody else. But now he's got a challenge to his inside. Graham McDonald in the 33. Keith Bynum in the 63, Garland Oaks, Ulysses Sandoval. Sorry, Sandoval.
Sandal.
In the top 10 in the 9th spot. And John Godfrey as well in the 7-11. Up here as well. Last time by in 10th place. That last lap, Ulysses Sandoval actually just ran the fastest lap of the race. Rodney Sullins had the fastest lap prior.
Isn't that like a bonus point?
In at a 47.705. That's about 200.5 miles per hour. And to answer your question, no, there is not a bonus point in this series for fastest lap.
Interesting. Spoke
earlier with Jessica Shelton.
And we could speak to her again if you want to.
Coming off the runner-up finish last week. She's now into the top 10, running behind John Godfrey. And there's Brian Lovell in the 043 as well, who is very sneaky in the closing stages of last week's Talladega race. He was outside the top 10 on that last lap and was able to find a huge run in the outside line that got him up to finish inside of the top 5, and he's looking strong again here tonight. Looks like he'll cross the line somewhere around the 8th position, solidly inside of the top 10 in that Wolfpack Racing machine. Scoring does indeed have him in 8th. Now, there's more than likely no way that anybody is going to play this strategy because they're going to run as long as they can so they don't have to take on nearly as much fuel. But the next time around, the fuel window is open for drivers to be able to make it the rest of the way. Al says that the Denny's in Cullman, Alabama has a great breakfast. I want to say the last Denny's I went to was actually in Rockland, Maine.
Was it?
That had
I
to
remember
have
we
been...
went to a Denny's when you were down here.
Did we go to a Denny's?
Yeah, remember when the race got canceled, we went and met at Denny's.
Okay, so that was the one that was kitty corner
on
to Hulk Hogan's establishment?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, then then I didn't remember that was actually a Denny's, so that would have been 2019. So that would have been the last one. July of 2019. Wow. If I come down to the 500 and it's rained out, we're going to that Denny's and I'm burning it to the ground. Because I will blame Denny's for races at Daytona getting rained out then. Well, Jeffrey Elliott, as we mentioned, picked up his first career Rolling Thunder Gaming checkered flag this Monday night in the Bare Bones Racing Series. He'd love to double down and put the similarly liveried. Wow.
Livered?
The similarly liveried number 56 in victory lane here in the Talladega Challenge Series. But we know Grant Wesley behind him is hungry to get back to victory lane. Kelly Causey's looking for a ticket into the Final Four. And Rodney Sullivan's Greg Palmer there in 4th and 5th. It's been a while since both of them have been to victory lane. I believe for Greg Palmer, last time he was in victory lane was a couple of seasons ago in the season opener. Been watching that second lane back there, which in a way is the outside line as your leaders are running the middle line. But Josh Metallic, Jeremy Jeffries, Tim Knopsker, Chuck McClure, they're trying to make something happen back there, and it just does not look like it's happening. I almost wonder if they would want to consider going to the bottom. If the 77 of Donnie Garrett gets past them, take the shorter way around the racetrack, maybe, I don't know. But this third lane is not working for them at all. And we mentioned about Donnie Garrett after he got spun off of turn 4 by Bernie Mobbs. Hit the inside wall. They've done a great job of repairing the back bumper of his machine, and he's back up here. Last time by, scored in 15th place. So he's making his way back up here to the front. Remember, in that pivotal 4th position in the standings coming into this evening's elimination race. Couple of cars a little bit further back here, maybe in danger of losing the draft. Ken Roberts in the 55, Cy Jones in the 7. We know that Cy hit the inside wall after he and Bobby Farrell had some contact there. As we know, Michael is alive, breathing into his microphone. Oh, someone blew up! Joe DeSpirito just blew up in front of the field, and I think that's going to probably bring out the yellow.
And that's why I was breathing heavy into my microphone.
You overheated his engine. You breathed on it.
Yep, it did, and there's the caution.
Caution is out. And this will take fuel strategy out of play. They will all be able to pit, and they will reach the conclusion. DeSpirito, last time by, was scored in 13th position. And second mechanical failure here on the night. We had actually a race restart before they even took the green with someone having a gear issue. Tom Dixon had a engine failure on the third restart of the night, and now Joe DeSpirito here closing in on 15 laps to go. Waiting on the pace car to pick up the leader. We'll go back and
Waiting
see
for
what
the pass
happened.
car.
Waiting for the pass car to pace them.
The pass car to pace them and the pass car to catch up to the field and pace them. No matter how you say that, it still sounds correct.
It does, which is weird.
No matter how many times you say that.
DeSpirito had actually just jumped up to the middle line to try and help Josh Metallic and company. And there you see, boy, it's amazing we didn't have other drivers involved there because Metallic was right on his back bumper. And credit Joe DeSpirito realizing what was happening, turning it up to the outside wall. Fortunately, there was really nobody else up there in that third lane. And able to get it out of harm's way, avoiding a multi-car incident. But nonetheless, it is going to put us under yellow. And it is going to set these drivers up now for a shootout. As we've got trouble on pit road there. Dante Ricky into Bernie Mobbs. Right in front of the 56 of Jeffrey Elliott, who were following off of pit lane. Thought he might come off of pit road as the leader. He came in the pit road as the leader. But no, Grant Wesley is actually going to be the leader when we go back green. Close to 10 laps to go. I think we'll be around 12, 13 laps remaining. All right, so we are within that 15 to 20 laps to go mark. And who you got, Surratt, said the pick is in. He says a cut line driver is going to win this race. Now, the cut line drivers right now would be Donnie Garrett, Tim Knopsker, Chuck
Something's
McClure,
happening
Mark
to Jeffrey
Paglia.
Elliott, possibly?
Oh, did he get a speeding penalty?
He might have. He's dropping positions.
I think he got a speeding penalty. Man, that's tough. He would have restarted in second. And he's going to give up a lot of track position there. He's going to put Greg Palmer now up on the front row with Grant Wesley. Yep, Rodney Sullins is in the 4th spot now. As we check in on him for Mr. Expos. All right, so we'll see if Milt Surratt's correct. Maybe Donnie Garrett, Tim Knopsker, Chuck McClure, or Mark Paglia. That's your cut line drivers. 5 points separating those 4. We'll wait till they cross the stripe here, and then we'll give you an update of where your remaining 6 playoff drivers are currently running. Jeremy Jeffries, the only driver coming into tonight that knows he is going to be battling for the championship. Won his very first championship a couple of seasons ago, back in season 61. And looking for his second in 3 seasons. Lights are still on the pace car. Thought maybe we would end up being able to go green this next time by. Update on drivers out of the race. Joe DeSpirito, obviously, with the mechanical failure. Jeff Crivello out of the race. And Bernie Mobbs out of the race due to a disqualification. I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe we saw the contact on pit road between him and Dante Ricky. I wonder if Mobbs might have tried backing up to his pit stall and might have backed up too much.
It's possible.
So Bernie's going to get credited tonight for 28th position. So 27 drivers will remain, all on the lead lap. We did not have any lap down machines under this caution period, so no free pass will be needed. And all of the 6 drivers that had not yet locked themselves a spot into the Final 4 are still running at this point in time. We told you we'd give you an update on where they're running. For the upcoming restart, Kelly Causey will restart the highest in 3rd place. Josh Metallic will be 8th. Chuck McClure in 9th. Tim Knopsker in 11th place. Jeremy Jeffries is already locked in, but he'll restart in 14th. Donnie Garrett in 17th. And Mark Pagley going to start quite a ways back in 26th. That is at the very tail end of the pack. So, not sure if something happened on pit road with the 28 or if he came back down pit road to top off the fuel tank again, though I don't know why you would. These drivers on just the first pit stop would have been able to make it the rest of the way if they took on 2 cans.
You never know.
But back in the eye of the storm, if you will, for Mark Paglia, who came into tonight 5 points below the cut line. Multi-time winner on the season in the 28 car. All right, lights should go out this time, and indeed they do. So your top 10 for this upcoming restart. Grant Wesley out in front, looking to get back to victory lane for the first time in 2 seasons. Greg Palmer alongside of him in 2nd. Kelly Causey, Rodney Sullins in row 2. John Godfrey, Jessica Schultz in row 3. Ulysses Sandoval, Josh Metallic, Keith Bynum, and I skipped over somebody. Let's go back to 6th. Jessica Schultz in 7th. Ulysses Sandoval. 8th, Josh Metallic. 9th is Chuck McClure. There we go. And 10th is Keith Bynum. At some point, I'll have the 2 big monitors, so I won't make those errors. Right now, I'm looking at the teeny tiny monitor for the lineup.
Teeny tiny monitor.
Itty bitty living space.
Phenomenal cosmic power. Itty bitty living space.
Rodney Sullins has passed the most cars here tonight. He started back in the 33rd position. He's up in the top 5 here in 4th place for the upcoming restart. Next driver to gain the most positions would be Ulysses Sandoval. Started back in 30th and restarts this one in 7th. So officially, when we get the green flag, it'll be 12 laps to go. At this point in time, we do not have any lap machines, so our point of no return marker would be somewhere around lap 63. A lot could change between now and then, though. We'll see what happens. Do we run green to the finish? Do we see a game-changing caution, not only in terms of who could win this race, but who could advance into the Final Four of the playoffs? Let's find out. Flagman has the green flag in hand. It's waving. Grant Wesley going to lead them into turn number 1. He's got the help of Kelly Causey.
Dropped it. He dropped the green flag.
Butterfingers.
Outside lane did not going. At least not yet, anyways.
And now Wesley, Causey, Godfrey all going to move up to that middle groove. That will help Palmer and Sullins. This is Sandoval with help from Chuck McClure. Now they're going to get some assistance from Tim Knopsker and Garland Oaks. I don't know why. We've got 27 cars still in the field, still running, all in this pack, but when they just fanned out there off of turn 4, it looked smaller than 27 cars. Here comes Ulysses in that Icebreakers machine, trying to get something going on the shorter way around the racetrack. Not the fastest line off the corners onto the straightaway, specifically the backstretch, but can gain some ground here on the entry to the corner. See him pull up alongside of Rodney Sullins. Clear of Jessica Shelton, who's alongside of on the back straightaway, and now that middle line will surge again. Shelton back alongside of him. Josh Metallic looking to do the same. Josh got to get stuck in the middle groove there. Shelton saw the run from Keith Bynum in the 3rd groove, moved up to cover that. Now they're going to be 3 wide back here around the 9th position. Metallic in the middle, Shelton on the top, Nofsker on the bottom.
Yeah, but is being on the very top lane of a good thing?
Not right now, it doesn't seem like.
That's what I'm saying.
Looks like that middle line's momentum stalling out there as well. Inside line. Gonna use that to their advantage. Sandoval will draw alongside of Rodney Sullins for 5th place. Top 4 clear in the middle groove. Wesley, Causey, Godfrey, Palmer. Now Sullins, well, I thought he was clear. Not quite. At least he's still the left rear quarter panel. Shelton's been able to find her way from the extreme outside line back to the bottom behind former champion Richard Martin.
She kind of got pushed down there, to be fair. They kind of left her out to dry, and she just had to happen to find an opening.
She's sandwiched between the petty cars. Richard Martin in front of her, Bob Dixon behind her. Bob Dixon still in this lead group and still up to speed. So remember, he ended up taking that pretty big shot into Glenn Harris back in the first caution on lap 2. I was kind of wondering how up to speed he was going to be. Looks like that thing's still competitive. So don't count him out yet.
That middle lane, though, still is going to have the advantage.
Well, Jeffrey Elliott, we saw him spend a good portion of time out in front prior to the last caution. He managed to tie Chuck McClure for most laps led tonight at 15 apiece. Grant Wesley that last time by just led his 13th lap, so he's closing in on that battle as well for the extra bonus point. A little movement right there by Kelly Causey. Don't know if he might have been giving Grant something to think about, but maybe making a move up there to the outside line. John Godfrey reacted as well. They stay single-filed through 3 and 4. Middle line, still the advantage. Inside line still led by Sandoval, back around the 6th position. Then a third lane. It was Keith Bynum leading it with Denny Carroll, but now Jeremy Jeffries moves up there. And remember, Jeremy's already locked into the Final 4. We talked with him last week in Victory Lane. He says, I'm just going to go out there and have some fun. Might be doing some experimentation here, seeing what he can do and what type of scenario and whichever line he wants to try. Completely worry-free of any repercussions if it doesn't work out. And again, this is the racetrack that we will come back to in the final race of the season, the final race of the final round, with the championship hanging in the balance. So maybe a little bit of experimentation, a little going to school here for the former champ, the driver that number 1. A lot of drivers ducking to that inside line there as now middle groove has died out. Third lane. A few of them going to clear that middle. And now lead the outside line. Sandoval's going to go up there and join them. Now what was the middle line with Wesley and company, they've now moved to the bottom. So that actually might help those drivers in the middle lane, unless a third line gets alongside of them. Now Wesley back to the middle again.
Running up that little bit of a middle lane there.
Covering that.
They're gonna cover it. We'll see what happens.
Greg Palmer now going to be the inside line car. A little twitch back there. The 10 of Terry Bombard are in the middle of the pack. Ooh, that was a little low off of the second corner there for Grant Wesley. Quickly moved up to that middle groove. Causey had a bit of a run there. Could have maybe done something with it.
We are approaching the point of no return.
And these drivers know it. A lot of movement up here at the front. Causey's trying to get... Oh, we got a car that's blown up. Oh, throwing the clutch. Oh, wreck. Denny Carroll around and Jessica Shelton as well. Garland Oaks. Caution's going to come out. This is going to more than likely end the race, and Grant Wesley is going to win. Causey will cross in second. I couldn't tell between Palmer and Sandoval who got third.
It's Sandoval. Ulysses Sandoval got it. by 0.05 of a second.
We came to the completion of lap 62. I don't know. We had all lead lap cars. Usually, if we get to the completion of lap 62 and we have lap machines, race is completely over. We may, and this is a huge may, get a one-lap shootout. Now, I'm not 100% certain what brought out the caution first. Mike Mangialardi blew up in the middle of the pack, and then there was contact that sent Denny Carroll into Jessica Shelton. Shelton went for quite a wild ride. That car blew over after she had a hit from Garland Oaks in the 67. Car's still running, though. Mark Paglia is back here, too. I don't know if he...
Rodney
draft or
Sullins. Rodney Sullins is letting us know that we should get right on board his car for a replay, Seth.
Okay. First, take a look at the 029, though, and his issue. I didn't see the yellow flag out, so I think Mangialardi did throw in the clutch immediately after his engine went south. There it is right there. Sounds like the engine's still running. So it may have been this that brought the yellow flag out, but we obviously had the subsequent wreck off of turn 4 through the tri-oval as well. And we'll take a look at that here. .41 of Denny Carroll was where it started. He was in the outside line with Keith Bynum and Jeffrey Elliott. And, ooh, looks like Jeremy Jeffries up into Keith Bynum. That sends Denny Carroll down actually across the pit road commitment line. I believe he was over 55 miles per hour, so hopefully he didn't get black flagged for that, because obviously he wasn't trying to pit. But I think he actually, right there, just retired out of the race regardless. Let's get an aerial view first here. I want to see, did the one get crowded or did he move up? Was the 63 pinching? Let's see, off the corner. Ew, that's hard to tell. They both kept going, but there you see Jessica Shelton bottoming your screen going for a wild ride. They've come around for, I believe it was 3 laps to go.
On the pace car for you, Seth, just on the off chance the lights go out.
Yep. Trying to get these replays done as quickly as possible, just in case we do get that one-lap shootout. Oh, Jess just barely got clipped, and then Garland Oaks gets bumped. I think that was by Dante Ricky. That sends him down into Jess, who then catches air. Bobby Farrell involved, and you saw right there the 28 of Mark Paglia was collected up in this and crossed the line, receiving the caution in the 25th position. That is more than likely going to eliminate him from advancing into the Final Four. He came into this race 5 points below the cut line. We'll get that on board here with Rodney Sullins before we cut back to live action. The Black Rifle Coffee Chevrolet. Here's a look at what he saw.
Nope, the race is over. Gonna end under yellow. Lights did not go out.
So caution will remain, and Grant Wesley is finally going to break back into victory lane after a winless streak that stretches all the way back to season 61. He went winless, if you could believe it, in season 62. As we documented, missed a good portion of the middle part of the schedule here in season 63. And he will finally break back into victory lane. That's another driver snapping a rather lengthy winless streak. Gonna be white flag next time by. Kelly Causey gonna finish in second. Is that gonna be enough for him to be able to advance? We're going to know this by the end of the night. They're really good here, Jeremy Jeffries, and getting the information to us, calculating the points. Josh Metallic and making sure that we have the page with the updated points to be able to let you know, especially during these elimination races, who is advancing, who is not. We know that Bob Seminara is going to fall below the cut line with not making the start here tonight. Josh Metallic is going to finish right now in the 12th position. He was second in points. I'm looking to see what playoff contenders finished ahead of him. That'd be Causey, Chuck McClure, and Tim Nofsker. Causey, he was 18 or 28 points ahead of. Nofsker, he was 14 points ahead of, and McClure, he was 15 points ahead of. So with finishing 13th, I believe Josh is going to be good to go in staying above the cut line. Donnie Garrett is going to finish down in 20th place. And remember, his interval between himself, Nofsker, and McClure was a lot closer than that. 1 point over Nofsker, 2 points over Chuck McClure. His white flag, you see right there, displayed over the hood of Grant Wesley. So one more time around this 2.6 mile super speedway.
The 7-Eleven, I think, just pulled out and retired early.
Yes, he did. Would have finished in 10th. I'm not sure why Godfrey with the early retirement. He's not running for championship, obviously. He's 37th in points, but would have netted a top 10. Unless there's somebody behind him that maybe needed the point. I'm not sure. Let's see. So Garrett, I believe, would fall out of the top 4. The question is who would move in. And it's going to be between Causey, Nofsker, and McClure. I think, if my math is correct here, just visualizing this, I think it's going to be Chuck McClure, and if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be by 1 point. You want to know what that 1 point is? Leading a lap. Leading a lap.
Who is it? Who is it?
McClure.
I'll tell you this. This is giving me Aaron's 499 2004 vibes, where the race ends in the yellow when they could have gone back green, but you know, some in-game officiating.
So again, we will have the official word when this is all said and done, but I believe your final 4 are going to be Jeremy Jeffries, Josh Metallic. Actually, hold on.
See? Stop doing math. Let them do it.
If Donnie falls out, then no, I think Nofsker and McClure both would advance in. So I think it's going to be Jeffries, Metallic, Nofsker, McClure.
Seth, I told you, stop doing math. Let them do it.
Just let the professionals do it?
Yes.
All right. I'll do what I do best, and that's talking gibberish.
I'm just kidding. Talking gibberish. Do what you do best, which is make everything sound better than it actually is.
Do what you want because a
Here we
pirate
go.
is free.
Checkered flag.
And Grant Wesley. He'll pick up the checkered flag, his first of the season. A welcome back here to the Talladega Challenge Series.
Ulysses was, by the way, he said while they were pacing, he wanted the race to hurry up and be over so he could wreck the leaders like Trey Kinsey.
Oh. Well, there's always one.
And guess who we get to interview first?
4th place Chuck McClure, right?
Yeah, we'll just skip over 3rd place. We'll just skip over 3rd place.
I think Jess is trying to get to Grant. I think she wants to be the one to spin him out.
Did she? I didn't.
Nope.
I'm on the wrong person.
Nope, she got blockaded out by Keith Bynum.
Darn it, Keith.
Oh, Rodney made a prediction here tonight as well. He said either Ken Roberts or Grant Wesley. So one of his picks getting the checkers here tonight. That's why we're not allowed to make predictions. That's why the drivers are only allowed to.
That's why we got to call Paul Heyman.
It's not a prediction, it's a spoiler.
Yep.
You might see him next, a week from Saturday. Maybe sooner. This has got to feel good for Grant Wesley, getting to burn it down once again here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Not in the hunt for the championship, but we've talked to him a number of times finishing on the podium. He's had a number of runner-up finishes at the beginning of the season as well. Just has not been able to get that one position better. Tonight he does, as he disappears in a cloud of smoke here at the start-finish line. We'll be talking with him, along with the other podium finishers here tonight in just a moment, with our FRN post-race wind-down. And again, as promised, we will have the official Final Four to compete for the championship starting in 2 weeks in the final round of the playoffs. Let's take a look first at the official finishing results from tonight. Wesley with the win, Causey in second, Sandoval in third, Chuck McClure, who I believe will advance to look for back-to-back championships, he'll get fourth. Greg Palmer will finish in fifth. Tim Knopsker, who I believe is also advanced in the Final Four, will get sixth. Jeremy Jeffries, who was already locked in, seventh place. Richard Martin, Jeffrey Elliott, and Keith Bynum going to complete the top 10. Josh Metallic, 11th position after John Godfrey with the early park. Metallic should have been able to point his way in. Dante Ricky will finish in 12th. Graham McDonald's, Garland Oaks, Rodney Sullins, your top 15. Brian Lovell was 16th. Terry Bombard, Bob Dixon in 18th. Donnie Garrett, tough race here tonight for him, as he'll finish in 19th. And Ken Roberts in 20th. Cy Jones in 21st. The rest of these drivers were involved in that last caution. Jessica Shelton, Bobby Farrell, Mark Paglia all finished, though, in 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. First retiree, John Godfrey in 25th. And the rest of these drivers did not reach the conclusion either, including Mike Mangialardi, Denny Carroll, Bernie Mobbs, Jeff Cravello, Joe DeSpirito, Doug Kulik, Brian Rawson, Larry D., Tom Dixon, Greg Lovell, Randy Waugh, Javier Negron, Ron Hagelin, and
Luigi
Harris. Nope, you're too late. Doesn't count. All right, let's head into our FRN post-race wind-down. And let's dial up some drivers here. Start with our third place finisher tonight, Ulysses Sandoval.
User was moved to
Ulysses,
your
Michael
channel.
and Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
What's that?
Tell you what, and the conversation for that victory, dedicated to that inside line. You're able to work your way up there to fifth, then to fourth. It looked like you guys were gaining ground. If we had managed to finish this thing under green, what do you think? Do you think you could have still been able to complete that inside line up to the front? Or do you think that maybe they had covered that inside line? You would have had to try something different. What do you think your chances were of maybe getting that 1 or 2 positions better?
Oh, definitely. When I had cleared that inside lane, I jump inside, thinking that in the next lap, if there's a lane for me in the high lane, I was gonna jump in. I was doing great moves so far, but that yellow came out, so that like that was unplanned. So I just ended up staying where I'm at. But definitely, I was gonna do some more moves if I was allowed to. Unfortunately, I wasn't.
We saw here tonight a lot of difference in momentum. We'd see the inside line gain momentum. Numbers would be up in the third lane. They'd start moving to the front. Middle line would get momentum at certain points. And it would really kind of break the field up a lot. There'd be a lot of gaps in the field. You talked about the ability to be able to generate and make moves. Did that lead to the ability to do that?
Yeah. When the high lanes get clear, I had the chances to get in there, but mostly was the inside lane. I rather stay in the inside lane because it was the safe spot. Because if you get high, you are vulnerable to get in three wide and get back to the back. That happened to me a lot of times, getting side drafted, getting the soccer hole, and ended up in the back because I jumped in the middle and I got put in three wide. In that last run, I almost got in the middle of three wide, so I rather stay in the bottom, the safe spot.
Yeah, we also saw it looked like potentially this race was going to come down to a final pit stop, but caution came out. You guys were able to pit under yellow and were able to make it subsequently the rest of the way on fuel. You guys didn't get a chance really to be able to make a green flag pit stop outside of 5 drivers near the beginning of that pit stop cycle. But I mean, with the fact that you guys had a lot of the early cautions, hadn't had a chance to be able to really make the green flag pit stop, how nervous were you? Because we've seen all season long, especially late in these races, execution on pit road is usually what ultimately keeps drivers in the conversation for the eventual checkered flag.
Well, you gotta tell that to Garland because he made the call that he was gonna enter to pits first,
Right?
and when as soon as he went there, the yellow came out and benefited him. I didn't, and I was like, oh man, I was wrong. And next time I will listen to you. And then the second cycle, they pitted again. They say they was gonna pit, but I told Garland we shouldn't go right now. And the yellow came out. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shut up. You're right. I've been making phone calls the whole night.
Yeah, but you bring it home on the podium, and we've seen this season, we saw last season, we saw even back in season 61, uh, a lot of drivers that have either not found victory lane or have been out of victory lane for a long time, some lengthy winless streaks, been able to break into victory lane. With the run here tonight, two more chances here in the upcoming weeks. Was this due to build your confidence that at some point you'll have the 096 in victory lane for your first Tally Challenge career win?
Yeah, when I first joined, I had so many expectations because I came back from Talladega Nights after making the championship four. I thought it was gonna be easy in here, just like in Talladega. It wasn't. I all season long, all these 3 seasons that I've been part of, I was learning and learning. And every time I have a good run, I ended up making bad calls and ended up, destroying my run. So yeah, this is definitely a night that I can learn about for the next weeks. The next weeks I gonna try to do the same strategies. Hopefully it'll work. I'm looking forward to the next seasons to make the chase. This season I was close, but not quite. We'll see what I can do next season.
Well, Ulysses, a great run for you here this evening. Third place, able to fight your way up there into the top 10, eventually the top 5 near the end of this race. And as mentioned, two more chances still here in the conclusion of season 63. Before we let you go, though, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Oh man, but I didn't win the race tonight. I didn't let laps, but I'm taking my first podium at RTG. I'm taking that with me. A big shout out to all my buddies from NCRA, my buddies at Primetime, my team Wrecking Ball, including Garland Oaks, Javier Negron, Doug Hewlett, and Graham McDonald, my buddies. Also my family, Mama Sandoval, who's behind me sleeping. So I think I should speak a little low because she will get mad. It's a good thing that she doesn't speak English. But a big shout out to Mama Sandoval. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Hopefully, I get a better finish.
Absolutely. Well, you get your first career podiums. There's a reason to be loud. That's Ulysses Sandoval bringing it home in third position here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on the great run. Best of luck here down the remainder of the conclusion of this season.
Bye bye.
Let's see if we can now get a
User was
hold
moved
of
out of your
second
channel.
place finisher here tonight. He won his way into the round of 8, almost was able to do the same here in the round of 4. Let's dial up Coach Kelly Causey.
User was moved to
Kelly,
your
Mike
channel.
Winseth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
10-4.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. We talked about it here this evening. You didn't necessarily come into this race in a must-win situation mathematically, but we always seem to find the playoff contenders around each other near the end of these races. We were kind of keeping an eye on the lap ticker, seeing when we got around that potential point of no return, and when we crossed over from 61 to 62, started to see you testing the waters, looking to maybe make some moves top to the bottom. Grant covering that. Was that the point where you were thinking, I got to do something right here, right now, just in case that yellow comes out?
No, well, yeah. To be honest with you, I was kind of hoping it stayed green because I had some guys behind me, John and Rodney and Greg, that I think really going to help me out. And in hindsight, probably should have made a little better move. We were I really wasn't really wasn't pushing the issue too much. But and then when the caution came out, it was really at a bad time because it was right there, right before the trial, and just didn't have time to make a move. But I'd worked with Grant on. I mean, to get to the front, me and Grant worked together. So I was committed to him until it needed to be time because I really thought I might get in with where I was at, but I really needed to win. I kind of knew that back in my mind.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was going to ask you that because, when we talked with Tim Knopfsker back during the last elimination race at the close of the first round, mathematically, he could have pointed his way in as well, but he said that as soon as the green flag dropped, even before the green flag dropped, he was treating it as a must-win situation race. Was that the case for you here tonight, or were you also kind of looking at a points pain scenario to get in, kind of gauging where you were to the rest of the competition?
Well, I was looking. I knew how many points I was behind. A couple of guys I knew with the one guy. Who was it that didn't race? But anyway, I knew he was going to be out, and then I knew I was behind Mark and Donnie, and I knew based off where they were running that I should have been in, but I didn't. Uh, I didn't realize when I was looking at that, I thought I was going to pass three guys and get in, but it just didn't work that way. I forgot about Jeremy up there having the win. I was looking at strictly the points and was getting to that fourth spot, but it was actually the fifth spot, to be honest with you, when I was thinking about it. But I basically, went into the race with the feeling that I had to win. I mean, you want to guarantee. What ended up happening tonight, I didn't guarantee it by winning and came up short.
We were talking moments ago with Ulysses, and I don't know what it was tonight, but it seemed like this evening. Obviously, we had the early yellows, so it took a little bit of time for you guys to find a rhythm. But when we ended up having those longer green flag runs in the second half of this race, the field, at least visibly, looked a lot more broken up than we've seen it in the past. You ended up having like a middle line, and then there was a gap back to the inside line, and a gap back to the third line. Now, Ulysses said that that actually helped him to be able to generate runs, make passes, make his way up to the front. Did you find that to be the case, or did it feel like a lot of these lanes were stalling out a little bit more than usual tonight?
A little bit. I do know the move. What really got me and Grant, I was behind Grant, and we were about, I guess, 6 or 7 deep on the bottom line, and the second line was falling because there was a third line had tried to get up there. And the third line never really got up to the front all night that I saw. But anyway, so the second line is falling, and as soon as I got clear, I was hoping Grant would move up because I knew as soon as that first line gets out far enough in front, you can get in that second line and get to the front. And sure enough, as soon as I cleared, I went to up and he went with me. And from then on, we were pretty much together the rest of the night. And that was really how we got to the front, to be honest with you. So it was, but yeah, there were times, like I said, I don't know that high line ever really did like it usually does. It'll bring some guys to the front. They can get down in that bottom second line, but I didn't see it, but I stayed the majority of the night, which is unusual for me. I stayed in the bottom or the middle, be honest with you.
Well, charged your way up through the field after starting mid-pack in the conversation for this win at the close. I know you were probably one of the drivers that was really hoping the lights were going to go out on that pace car for a one-lap shootout, but a second-place performance tonight. Unfortunately, it doesn't advance you into the final run for the championship. You still got two more races to be able to find victory lane. You got that one during the playoffs back in the first round there that advanced you here into this round of 8. So opportunity for a couple more checkered flags here, close out the season. Finish fifth at least overall in the point standings as well, Kelly. So we wish you luck on that, and floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Well, I'd like to first of all thank you guys and RTG for everything y'all do. Y'all do a great job, and it's been a great season. And like always, and tonight had a few more yellow flags, but racing is really top notch here, and that's the reason I love racing here. But shout out to Ken Roberts, who helped me really early as teammate, and he got in a wreck. And then John, Rodney, and Greg, who really helped me a lot there at the end. And of course, running there with Grant, I appreciate him, you know, running with me a little bit. And just a shout out to my mom, my kids, and my wife Karen. And it's I hope they enjoyed it. All right, and we'll come back next week and see what we can do.
Kelly Causey's second place here this evening in the elimination race at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. looks like officially will put him 10 points shy of advancing into the Final Four, but a strong run here in the playoffs, and we'll look to close out strong here in season 63, starting in 2 weeks' time. Enjoy your Thanksgiving vacation off here from racing, and we'll see you back at it here in the final 2 races of the season.
Thanks.
Kelly Causey,
User
second
was
place
moved out
finisher,
of
and
your
let's go
channel.
down now to victory lane. Dial up, first time winner here in season 63, Grant Wesley.
User was moved to
Hey
your
Grant, Michael and
channel.
Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hey boys, how's it going?
Oh man, I'll tell you what. First off, welcome back. Good to see you back out on the
Oh,
racetrack,
jeez.
and
Having
welcome back
just
to
mentioned
victory
that
lane
you've been
because
gone for like an hour,
I-
or an hour, for like a week or almost a month.
I can't believe that I said a sentence tonight that had Grant Wesley and winless streak in the same sentence. I mean, going back to season 61, you were winless all of season 62. Obviously, you had a number of those runner-up finishes. The beginning of this season, we documented the number of weeks that you've been gone. I mean, just how good does it feel to finally get that monkey off your back, finally park this 88 back in victory lane?
Oh man, such a weight off my shoulders. I mean, it's almost like winning a championship. It feels like it's been so long. It's been a couple seasons, after you go, so many seasons just consistently getting wins and then I had the stretch of getting those championships and then hit the drought. And when you hit the drought, you're like, man. And I've been leading laps, I've been running up front, I've been doing everything the same, everything's been working just as well. It hasn't been just like a switch of luck or anything. It's just I've been just falling short over and over and over. And you kind of start to wonder, like, man, when am I going to get another one of these wins? They're just so hard to get. And man, here we are. Feels so good.
Breaking through finally, but let's talk about the storm that was brewing behind you because this was an elimination race for drivers to advance into the Final Four. You had Kelly behind you, who uh, ultimately by the end of the night was looking like he was in a must-win scenario. It looked like he could mathematically point his way in earlier on this evening. You had Chuck McClure back behind you, Tim Nofsker, drivers that were trying to, if not point their way in, were looking at the golden ticket to lock in via a win. You got the luxury of being able to have the caution fly at the right time where you didn't have to defend in the closing stage. But let's kind of theorize that this thing did go green to the finish. Did you have the car? Did you have the strategy? Did you have the scenario played out in your head to be able to keep them all at bay?
I'm pretty certain I was going to be a sitting duck there. The whole race, man, I worked with those BSR guys pretty much the whole race, especially Kelly, even from the middle of the pack, moving towards the front. Um, I work with a lot of those guys often. Um, but yeah, I as far as the chase points, I wasn't 100% sure exactly where everybody was, and in my mind, I thought that was the fairest way to approach this. I did hear over a whisper that Kelly was really needing a win there. I understood that. I knew he had a lot of help around us, so I was fully expecting to kind of get past there late in the race. I was hoping it was going to be in the last couple laps. Um, and yeah, I got incredibly lucky to catch that caution right there in the tri-oval. So, but yeah, thanks to Kelly, man, for just running with me. I mean, all night.
I was talking with the other two previous drivers as well about, with what we were observing here this evening. It really looked like the differing lanes and how the momentum shifts from lane to lane was more prevalent tonight, I think, than what we've seen all season long here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. And it kind of seems apropos that you and the 88 were the Pied Piper for a good portion of that segment of the race. We saw you down on the yellow line. We'd see you then shift the line behind you up to the middle groove. Obviously, it's kind of a twofold question. Was there communication going on of which line the momentum was in, and you were making the adjustments accordingly? And with that also being said, how difficult does it make it to defend when you end up not necessarily knowing which lane the momentum is going to shift to?
Yeah, there was no communication between me and Kelly necessarily. A lot of this race in here, I mean, everyone's got their teammates and their whisper list, or the guys they communicate with, but you can only communicate with so many people and it just gets to be jumbled up. A lot of the working you do on the racetrack is just the people you find around you consistently. And So yeah, that was communication. It was just, me and the 00. We find each other often on the track, and we know that we're able to push each other really well. In fact, me and any of those BSR guys. So yeah, I appreciate them. But yeah, all the lanes tonight, they were working really well. At one point, I know I went third lane with Jeff Elliott, and I had the BSR guys behind me then, and I know we got out front about mid span of the race there, and we were flying, doing 202 down the backstretch, and but yeah, as far as whenever I got out front, I was just late in the race. I was just watching Kelly's nose and just watching the lines. I seen the third line foreman, so I knew the bottom was going to be the preferred. And I seen Kelly kind of moving up, so maybe he seen something I didn't. So I just went to the middle, and it just worked out. Sometimes that's just the way you got to do it.
Well, able to burn it down here on the front straightaway, sitting in victory lane, back in winner's circle. Grant, congratulations on the job well done. We'll let you get back to your celebration, but before we do, the floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, thanks to the owners here, David Cannon, Sean Prime, the admins, Josh and Tim, and the late Wiley Coat. Miss you. FRN, thank you for doing the broadcast, Mike and Seth. Looking forward to watching this back as always. My teammates with XFM, I'd like to thank the BSR guys. Man, they were in my corner all night. Thank my friends and family for watching. I'd like to thank everyone that donated towards the broadcast to make it, so we can watch these back. It's a lot of fun. And my girlfriend Brittany.
Well, Grant Wesley finally snaps that winless streak. He's in victory lane here tonight. He's got 2 more chances to get
Hey,
some checkered
Seth,
flags here before the conclusion as well.
may I say something
You may.
to our race winner here? I want to formally extend an invite to you if you're not doing anything Sunday night to pop over to the NNSCRA for a Talladega race that I'm sure you wouldn't mind joining in.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, I'll have to get with you on that, and I'll have to see what my schedule looks like for sure.
Awesome, awesome. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Grant Wesley, your winner here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, the first non-playoff driver to go to victory lane here during the postseason. Congratulations, Grant, and best of luck here on the remainder of the season. Enjoy your Thanksgiving time off.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
User was moved out of your
So Grant
channel.
Wesley, add his name to the list of drivers that have snapped a lengthy winless streak here this season. And with that being said, Grant being a non-playoff contender means that 3 drivers officially pointed their way in, joining Jeremy Jeffries, who locked himself in with the victory last week. Those 3 drivers would be Josh Metallic, Chuck McClure, and Tim Nofsker. So there you go. Jeffries, Metallic, McClure, Nofskers, all former champions, Michael. So we will not have a first-time champion. We will have a multi-time champion, regardless of which one of the 4 ends up ultimately taking the prize. And the funny thing about it is when I look at the 4 drivers that we have competing for this championship, you can go back, you can look at just about every single race this season, and at some point or another, these 4 are lined up nose to tail working together. So what do you think? 2 races of frenemies here? I'll work with you for now, but when it comes down to the end of this race, no, I want the most points. I want this championship trophy. How does that work out?
Ain't gonna be no friends. Friends are where you find them, and they're definitely not gonna be the ones that are your championship for. That's for sure. Can't wait. I can't wait to see the finale happen in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks.
Yep, 3 weeks time. We got in 2 weeks. We'll be beginning the final round of the playoffs. Of course, next week. Want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We will be off. Obviously, RTG will be off as well, and then
Will we though?
well, yeah.
No.
I'll be
Well,
I'll
I
be
mean, we're not
asleep.
gonna be we're not gonna be broadcasting anything, but we're definitely gonna be working.
I'll be working on a turkey.
We'll be working on the inside of my eyelids.
Yeah, probably. The serotonin's gonna kick in quick.
You sick?
Huh?
What are you sick?
No, and serotonin, the stuff in turkey and chicken that makes you sleepy?
I don't know.
I'm
I'm not
pretty
a
sure it is.
scientist.
I'm not either.
Anyways, Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning into our coverage. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, congratulations to Grant Wesley on the victory. Jeremy Jeffries, Josh Metallic, Chuck McClure, and Tim Knopsker for advancing into the Final Four, as they will battle for the championship here in Season 63 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. But for Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night, folks. Next time we'll see you will be on Saturday, November the 30th, for the Full Throttle Racing Mega Team event. Until then, though, we'll see you guys next time as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.